Hi, my name's Peter Bartlett and this is my 1949 Fiat 500C Topolino. It's actually called Topolino after the car that Mickey Mouse drove. The model before this actually looks like the car in the cartoons. This is a later model, but they still call it Topolino, which is Little Mouse. The car actually is a 4-cylinder. It's 570 cc's. It has 16.5 brake horsepower, and that equates to about 12 kilowatts in today's modern terms. So there's the little 4-cylinder engine. We have the radiator behind it and the fuel tank here, which is 20 litres. It's actually a thermosiphon, so it doesn't have a water pump to cool. It relies on the water getting hot and circulating around. It has a little 22mm Weber carburetor on it, which are quite rare these days, and it gets a maximum of about 63 miles to the gallon. Top speed is 90 kilometres an hour. It's got a 4-speed gearbox. It doesn't have any synchro between first and second. It has hydraulic brakes all round. It has a transverse front spring, which means the spring is underneath the engine going across the car, unlike modern cars. It has an alloy gearbox, alloy diff, alloy head, and its overhead valve. It's a light car. All the chassis underneath has been lightened, and it only weighs 600 kilos. And it needs to weigh as little as possible because it doesn't have a lot of power. So we drive it probably about between 70 and 75 kilometres an hour on the open road. Try not to hold too many people up. The car was found at Gawler in Erekas in 1984, and we went in to see if they wanted to sell it because a friend of mine already had one. The car was in a sorry state. It had an accident in the front. All of the floor was rusted through because the car sat in a paddock in Queensland for a long time and filled up with water, and eventually rusted through because the canvas soft tops did not last long in those days. We brought it home. It stayed in pieces for many years. I've now had the car for 34 years and it's been on the road for 14. It took about 6 years part-time to restore, and I did it all myself at home in the shed, including the paint, the rust repairs and bodywork. The car now is quite a rare car, so it's enjoyable to show it off to people at the Bay of Birdwood. The car, as I said, does not have a water pump, so it has a lot of ventilation to let the heat out of the engine because the radiator is behind the engine. Behind the engine and the radiator we have a small heater flap which we can get hot air from the engine to either defrost the windscreen, or we've got taps underneath the dash we can put onto our feet. We have air conditioning, but this is the only air conditioning you get, is some flaps that you open to let fresh air into the car, which comes in by your feet. It has very dainty door handles that are unlike any probably other car you've seen. Sliding windows. It's quite roomy inside for 2 people, and we'll seat 4 at a pinch. We have a dash with a hand throttle, so I've got cruise control. I've got a fuel gauge and an oil pressure gauge. The fuel gauge has a low fuel warning light, not bad for 1949. We've got the pull starter, we've got the choke, we've got the wipers and the lights for interior light. This is the ignition key, and this also operates the headlights, the parkers and the high beam by turning for low beam and high beam and parkers. A few of you might realise they're called suicide doors, and the reason is that they open the wrong way, and if you open them into traffic, there's a possibility that a car may come along and the door will then come back and hit you inside the car. So that's why they're known as suicide doors. We have little trafficators on the windscreen, and these will pop out and light up. They're actually not supposed to be used these days, so we don't use them very much. We've had to put modern blinkers on the car. You can see the car is a cabriolet. There were 2 versions of this. There was a hardtop version with a very small back window, and there was a cabriolet with the convertible roof. Much more desirable and less claustrophobic. At the back here we've got a little door because it doesn't have a boot, and inside of here is the spare tyre and the jack. So we have a spare tyre and we have a jack. I'll get out now. Sorry about the dirty rags, but this is the genuine original Fiat jack for the car. If it does own an Italian car, I would advise that you come and explore the website Italian Made Cars. It's a new club that was formed about 12 months ago, and we cater for all sorts of Italian made cars. We have everything from Ferraris, Maseratis to little baby Fiats, and we'd welcome anyone who would like to come along and join the club. We have a meeting once a month, first Tuesday of the month at the Astor Hotel between 7:30 and 8:30. Quite welcome to come along and have tea with us and join the club. Find my 8th Beta Birdwood. I have another car that I take in the Classic, but I really enjoy taking the older car because not many people know what this is. I love to see the faces of the old Italian people because they do recognise the cars from the old days, from Italy. It's lovely to be involved in something that's actually living, and rather than going to a museum and seeing cars not running or steam trains not put up, you can actually stand on the side of the road and watch these beautiful cars go by. You get an idea of what they sound like, how they go, and it's a great lot of fun showing them off to the general public. So come along to the Beta Birdwood, see us on the 30th of September, and we'll give you a wave and a toot.